We still need one more for a quorum. Can you hold on?
Okay, we have one more walk-in and then, little money drawing and fire update before our cooperators meeting at 10.
We need Lynn for a quorum. Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order. We have a quorum. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Council, we're just here to do the annual Ferry Basin Little Money tag draw. This year we had 398 applicants that were eligible for the drawing. I think I had 9 that I had to pull out because they either re-entered too early or were maxed out on their sheet permit, and that's the one they wanted. And then 3 that were repeats. So right about 400 applicants that we had to enter into. And this year we have 5 ram tags, 30 bull tags for Ferry Basin, and 4 U tags.
Everybody, do you see the program? I'll do the draw now. Okay, that's it.
Can you turn on your mic?
It looks like, I forgot to count how many years, but I think the maximum points here is 17. So we've been doing this for 17 years probably. So, but like everything, you always get somebody with 1 point gets lucky, so. And then if I go to the second page, everybody done with first? There's a few more on the second page. Oh, then I got to go up to the top. Yeah, so that's the 30 bulls.
The special hunt just refers to, it's a tag drawing, a
Yeah,
lottery system.
it's the only hunt we have with those kind of permits, so. Back up 1 page and then, yeah, do that. And then let me know if you want me to scroll. As soon as we're done, then I'll go and download the results and send them to Crystal, so they'll get put out. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah, that's what, I'll try to write that in for next year. Fireworks. Yeah,
All right, well, thank you for that.
I'll go to one more page just because it does have the U's. People put in for that too. There was only 4 U permits, but because of okay. Yeah. What now? Yeah, yeah, I can do the same. I'll get it to Jen probably, and then she can figure out. Because when I send it to Crystal. What now? Yep, yep.
Sharmel?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Approximately what percentage of these are usually filled?
Last year for the Rams, I think all of them were filled, and we had one extra Ram tag last year. 3 of the U's were filled. We only had 4 U's. And I think only about 8 of the Bull tags were filled.
Tell me if you want me to go down, Martin. And then there is a second page for the Bulls, so and then there's the rest of them.
Remaining Bull tags. And cows are unlimited on the Prairie Basin, so you don't no longer need a tag for them. And we really need tribal members to start harvesting cows. The elk situation there is just, they're really starting to wreak havoc on some of the local farmers.
Okay, well, thank you, gentlemen. We'll look forward to the
Now, how-
results posted on everyone email.
Stop share. Okay, I'll have to download the database. It'll take me a little bit just sitting here, but
Okay, we apologize for the delay. We had another a fire cooperators meeting that we had to attend offline, so sorry for the wait.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have tribal health.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We'd like to present today 3 capital equipment purchases from 3 different departments. The first one I'd like to present is on page 6. It is an antibacterial light. They're portable. There's 8 units that will be placed in all of the showers and saunas so that we can make sure that our infection control policy is more aggressive, and that when we start utilizing the showers and saunas, of course, we'll get that down. This type of equipment will basically reduce 81%, an 81% reduction in bacterial infections based on studies. So we wanted to go ahead and purchase these units.
Motion by Carol to approve the purchase. Second by Martin. Questions? All those in favor? Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The second item on the agenda will be presented by Dr. Margeau as we expand our therapy services, and she would like to present these items to you today.
Hi, I'm on a phone waiting for a patient to come in. So if you can't hear me, please definitely let me know. We, like Jonathan said, are trying to expand our services here in the Polson Clinic. We're going to expand into the conference room up here. So fitness equipment that we haven't had room for, that we now will be able to include a treadmill, an elliptical, parallel bars, training stairs, some fall training mats, and then an ice dispenser that will let us use ice bags rather than ice packs, so that I can send them home with patients, and they're a little more adaptable to different body parts than the ice packs themselves. So I have details on some of the larger pieces of equipment if you guys have questions about them, and why they might cost a little bit more than what you would find at like a sports store. Other than that, it's pretty standard equipment for most places. We just haven't had the room for them until now.
Motion by Carol to approve the PT capital equipment request, second by Martin. Questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstain? Sorry, Lynn, I didn't get your vote. Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The last is Dr. Gary Pitts, who wants to explain the dental equipment to provide services for the youth and children. Dr. Pitts, you're on mute.
Who did that? Thank you for this opportunity to share with you. We've got 3 different items to present. We're with our new pediatric dentist, we're expanding his capacity. The great news is the demand has really expanded. And so this will give us the opportunity to provide more services to more kids. The largest item is they're called the sensors. Those are the X-ray little wafers that have electronic wires connected to the computers. They're very expensive, and like today, we've got 40 patients running through. And so you can imagine the utilization of those things, and they have an age element to them. And so we thought we would take this opportunity to have that backup and replace some of the older sensors.
Motion by Charmel to approve the purchase. Second by Carol. Questions? All those in favor? Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Tribal Health. Okay, next up, Marie Trojan.
Here I am. Good morning, Council. I'm here this morning to request permission to apply for a $50,000 grant from the Annenberg Foundation. I'd like the resolution approved. I've run it through contracts and grants already. And just to give you a little bit of history on this, if you look on your page number 21, it gives a kind of a brief. You know, the People Center, or after the fire, we've been looking for funds to not only rebuild the building, but also funds to assist with our collections. But Rob McDonald brought a couple to visit us a few months back, and they were the founders of the Annenberg Foundation. After visiting the center here and visiting with me for a while, they made a recommendation of a $50,000 donation to help with the Culture Center's efforts. And their foundation requires an application process for those funds. So I've been meeting with John Nyes and our conservator, Nancy Bonicello, on the use of 2 rooms out at Kicking Horse Job Corps that would benefit 3 chiefs as a holding site for the artifacts that are in storage at 9 Pipes, and then also the artifacts that are coming back cleaned from the conservators. We need a safe storage space for both of those, and it is my hopes to use these funds to help renovate those 2 rooms and make them safe and secure.
Motion by Charmel to approve the resolution to the Annenberg Foundation for a grant for $50,000. Second by Bing. Questions? All those in favor? Okay, motion carries unanimous.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Marie. Good luck.
Yep, have a good day.
Constance, her information starts on page 24.
Yes, it sure does. Good morning. What I'm in presenting to council today is a request to approve the resolution for a small grant that we have applied for. The grant is an MIPPA, which stands for Medicare Prevention Benefits, and it takes care of a partial part or the total amount of the Medicare Part B cost for elders if they qualify. There's the low income subsidy program and then the Medicare savings program. So we would make outreach to our elders to see if they're eligible for these programs and assist them with that application. The resolution is on page 36, and basically the resolution states that the council is approving the submission of an application for the Title VI in response to funding opportunity number F21 MIPPA funding HHS to the 2021 ACL MITR-2101. Whereas the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes will commit to the well-being and safety of our elders to live financially as stable as possible, whereas the tribal council and leadership encourages cross cooperation between departments, not only to minimize costs, but to improve services outcome to individuals and families. Whereas the Department of Human Resources and Development is soliciting funding in the amount allowed by this funding agent not yet established. Be it resolved, the Department of Human Resources and Development is authorized to submit on the behalf of the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes. Further resolved, the Tribal Council of the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes supports the submission of the application and authorizes the tribal chair and her designated representatives to negotiate and sign all documents and execute this contract on behalf of the tribes. This money is normally around $5,000 a year annually that we get, and it is this year the funding has been doubled, so it's going to be around $10,000, but they haven't given that specifically yet. But that's what we've been advised. So I'm asking for approval to for the resolution to submit with that one-page application.
Okay, Martin,
I'd make the motion to, for the resolution to submit the grant application.
okay, motion by Martin, second by Carol. Questions? All those in favor? Motion carries unanimous.
Already.
Actually, Len is out of the room. Okay, I'm going to take that vote over again. All those in favor of the resolution for the MIPPA funding? All those in favor? Okay, Len abstains, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Constance.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Go ahead, Sharmell.
Madam Chair, is it appropriate time to give Len a birthday pass? Is it your birthday, Len?
It is.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have lands. Their information starts on page 37 in the packet.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Council. We have 3 issues going to be coming in today, all business leasing, so I'm going to turn it over to Tara Urban.
Morning, Madam Chair, Councilman. Happy birthday, Lynn. Okay, yep, we're starting on page 37. This is a revocable permit request coming from Leslie and Terrence Stewart with the Fire and Ice. They do the food vendor for that. This will be 1914B located in Polson across from Koteknek. We just recently had a fire stand on that site. But we're doing option 1 to approve a permit with the $350 a month for rent. This is a 6-month permit with required insurance and a bond. Our recommendation is option 1.
Sharmell has a question?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks, Mark and Tara. I'm just curious. I know that you've had other food vendors on this place, like I'm thinking about the SKC stand. Is this the standard fee that you've been getting on that?
A lot of times, actually, with this site, because they've been having smaller permits, it's usually $25 a day. These guys are wanting to be on there longer than just 1 to 2 days, sometimes 3 days at a time. So that's why they wanted to go with a longer lease, or a 6-month permit, I should say, not a lease. Just so that way they could do the $350 a month instead of just the $25 a day on this site.
And also too, to follow up too with that, is that like our coffee stands and that on sites like this are the $350 fee that we charge for like coffee stand or another one of those vendor sites that we do.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So I guess if they're gonna only be setting up a couple of times during the week, that wouldn't be the same as the coffee stand that's there every day.
Right. So, oh, sorry, go ahead.
And so I guess I'm just hoping that they get an appropriate or commensurate fee because, you know, to support our tribal member, that's kind of one of our goals here with our directives. Thank you.
Yes, and that's why Tara had went and they had talked about it with Fire and Ice the whole time. The amount of days that they wanted to set up for the month would actually been more than the $350 for the full month. Doing that $25 a day payment, it would have put them over that because they were going to be there over 10. They're going to be over there 15 to 20 days out of the month is what they were hoping for.
And then to follow up, this is an allotment also. So we do have an allottee 3 that are on here that we have to get approval with them as well. So this, they actually wanted to do $35 a day at one point. So we brought it down to 25 because that's what tribal does. However, they were happy to go with the 350 because they want to have that option to not only just set up for 2 times out of the week. They wanted to be able to, hey, there's something going on this weekend. Can we set up for 5 days out of the week? So this would help them out more than just us. So this is benefiting them.
Thank you. Your
Mhm.
presentation says 2 times a week, so that is
Right.
less than $350 a month, and that's why I was asking. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Martin, and then Carol.
I was gonna make a motion, but I'll let Carol.
Carol?
I have a question about the bond.
Mhm.
Sorry, don't mean to yell at you. So how much does that cost to get?
They could do, usually they do, with smaller ones like this, they normally would just do a cash bond, as we wouldn't ask for a very high because it's only a 6-month permit, not a 5-year business lease.
I just think it's more cash going out of a small business, and I know it's hard to make ends
We didn't
meet,
put a
so
bond yet.
I'm kind of wondering, in the new policy, Mark, do we still do this for small things like this?
In our new ordinance that we're working on right now, they still do this type of bonding for these ones, for the business, commercial ones. We
Okay.
do the cash bonds, but usually a lot of them, because it'll be like 1 month rent,
Okay,
because that just gets held on bond for them.
that's a lot. I mean, to me, if I was in the small business like that, 350 is a lot of money, you know, so just saying.
Yeah,
Thank you. That's all.
Motion by Charmel, second by Carol. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries unanimous. Go ahead, Len.
I know in the past, in regards to the food vendors, we used to have somebody on staff that would do an inspection on them. Are we still doing that?
Yes, that's a requirement for any food vendors, even if they're only on there for 5 days, 6 days, 10 days. Right now, we do have Brian that does come in. If we can't get a hold of him, we have somebody out of the state that does that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next item.
Okay, let's see. Next one is on page 38. This is a business lease modification for One Heart. They were submitted a letter a couple weeks ago, and they did respond to it. Kind of giving you a background, they were currently had a business lease violation where the lease, they were subletting. They were offering swimming lessons with a fee. I don't know how much the fee was, but it resulted in a subletting issue. They did in return, come back with a letter saying that they didn't feel it was a violation because they were giving lessons. However, it was people outside of the entity. It wasn't their clients. So we did have a full discussion with them, and because this is an insurance, it would be on us as the tribe unless they had the insurance to cover people outside their clientele. So they are trying to get the insurance worked out. However, in the meantime, we said that we could try to help get an approval of, as long as they have the insurance to cover swimming lessons, we can modify their business lease to help with that. But they have to make sure they have the correct insurance. And they did work on that, and they have provided me with the insurance. The hard part is the insurance only covers clientele, which means the people that are actually coming in, that are staying there, their kids, and if they're giving swimming lessons, they would be covered. However, say they had a family member coming in that wanted to do the swimming lessons, that insurance wasn't covering them. So I did let Lydia and them know that was the difference. The insurance did cover anybody that's staying there. It just didn't cover anybody coming outside to come in for the swimming lessons. So I know they were gonna work on that and make sure that they got that all cleared up. But that was one of our recommendations for them, is if it was to be approved to let them do swimming lessons out there, they'd have to have the proper license. They would need to have the proper insurance, safety protocols, which they would have to have signs that say, we can only, no diving, no running, things like that. They'd have to have a lifeguard for however many occupancy there is out there. They'd have to have a lifeguard per number of occupants out there. Things, just safety protocols that they'd have to have set up. So they were definitely going to provide that if it is to be approved. The other violation that they did have was subletting cattle. And I'm going to actually pass this over to Mark because he can give you more information.
Yes, they also were running a non-members cattle, non-tribal member cattle on that property. They got notified with the lease violation with that one also. They were running it for fire. They were saying it was for fire safety, and they were bartering with the non-member to have fence work done. So they're actually wanting to request to be able to do that also, is to be able to have cattle grazing there to keep down the fire and everything. One of the issues underneath the subletting, it may not be a money exchange, but it is the not having approval by council to have them on that lease. That's one. So it's actually a trespass on the non-member whose cattle are out there. And it is subletting because One Heart were the ones who gave them the permission to go do it, to get the fencing repaired. So there's 2 violations in that one. We did notify them on it, and we did want them to understand that they needed to start with us at the office first so we could come into council and discuss these issues with them. The one thing with this one is that it is a policy of the tribes, no subletting. You have to have the registered brand that has to go with that lease. We did put in there in the original business contract that, farming and ranching practices would be happening on that property eventually when they get to that point. Levi was going to be like the ranch manager and so forth. We did work with them a little bit at the beginning about trying to get something set up for the fencing with our department to assist them and potentially some of their clients to be out there working with us so we could teach them how to be a fencer and how to maintain that fence. But at that time, they didn't have any clients and that never did happen. But if this is to be a recommendation, from the lands department on this, we would rather have it as that if council grants permission for them for this modification to allow these people to, the group to sublet and have somebody else's cattle on there, that it must be a tribal member's cattle, especially like a year like this with the drought. This has got a lot of acreage out there. We have plenty of tribal members in the vicinity that could benefit from that action, and they could help with the fencing too if they need to, and vice versa. We could work out something, but our recommendation on that one would be to, if this was approved, to allow, must be a tribal member.
Questions for Lance? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the modifications as long as all requirements are met.
Before we go, do we want the motion to be 2 separate motions, one for the swimming lessons and one for the grazing? Or do we want both of those on there approving that the swimming lessons happen and the cattle grazing?
Charmel?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess my question, I would kind of restate that question to you because the request here, the details aren't as detailed as what it sounds like you're recommending. So I'm not sure what to do with this.
Correct.
this
And
one.
the one thing I will say that with the option 1, if it is to go with option 1, one of our recommendations that we can add on would be, yes, at the end, well, I said approve One Heart with the lessons, as long as they provide insurance, the proper safety protocols for the swimming pool, which to me is everything that we covered. If you want more detail, I can definitely add more detail, but mine was more the lease for the safety protocols. Or yes, I would want to add in that it must be a tribal member.
And I think the other one you mentioned was the client versus the outside people.
Okay, and I can add that for the insurance, provide insurance for other people, outside entities. Okay, so we'll put, as long as they provide insurance for outside entities.
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion for the approval with Land's recommendations.
Okay, motion by Len. Okay. Second by Martin. Questions? Mike.
What happens in the event they cannot find a member with cattle to do the grazing?
If they cannot find a tribal member that has the cattle in the area, then we would have to come back in and do a secondary approval to allow a non-member. I just don't want council to have to waive a subleasing policy. That's why I'm coming in with approvals like this to go to a tribal member first. And like I said, they have an abundance of tribal members in that area, just in the nearby area of right where that lease is at, that could potentially graze it for them.
Carol?
Just a quick question. Have we ever subleased to non-member? I don't know that we have.
To non-members, no, we have allowed tribal members to join a lease or anything like that, but not for a non-member sublease like this.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimous.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and then, next one, this one is gonna be on page 40. This is a business lease request from Toledo River School. This is to construct an expansion of the school facility. This will be actually on a government tract, G4128. BIA is on board. They're approving this as well. But I need to bring this in to you guys just to get your approval as well. This would be a two-year goal, would be a 50-year business lease with option to renew additional 50-year as long as the requirements for leasing are met, which is a $1 annual payment fee, required insurance, but we asked to waive the bond.
Martin?
I'd make the motion to approve the 50-year lease with the specified details.
Okay, motion by Martin, second by Bing. Question, Len?
Question and clarification. I know when we were working on this in the past, it depicted that the government tract was a portion of the highway right of way, and then that goes off into the subject property. And then the remainder of the subject property was tribal land, was my understanding. So you're asking us to utilize the government tract for this expansion? When, I mean, I guess my question is all we need is a tribal property, right?
The property that they're requesting to expand for that new gym is the government tract. So the existing property right now where Two Eagle River School is at is the tribal piece. So we had to get with the BIA to get that government tract approval to do the lease with them to expand on that portion.
I understand that, yeah.
And then we're getting the permission from you guys to do that right now, is to have our tract and the government tract together. So it'll be all covering it. It's not just a tribal tract anymore.
Okay.
There was another thing that came up, was that a lot of the government tracts were transferred over to the tribal ownership.
That was my next question.
This one was one that was never on the list to be transferred over. We had extensive research that was working on that one for a while, and it just came to light, but this is the one, this tract we thought was the government tract that was transitioning over to the tribes, but it's not.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstain? Mike abstains. Motion carries.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, that's all we had.
Thank you, Lance.
All right, have a good day.
I'm sorry, I do have one other thing that we'll need to go into executive. It was just a follow-up on an email